Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu Rasulullah. It is with the name of Allah, the merciful Redeemer, the merciful Benefactor, that we bear witness that none is worthy of worship or devotion but Almighty God. It is with the name of Almighty Allah that we have the permission to gather, to congregate, to begin our daily activities by His permission with Bismi. Some would say in the name, but in actuality we can never take the place of Allah, so we say with the name of Allah, by the permission of Almighty Allah. We say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La, no entity, no human being has the right to be worshipped. None is God but God. None stands in the place of Almighty God. It is to Him that alhamd is due, the praise is due. We begin this Jummah prayer with the subject matter, Fabiyayi ihla'i rabbikuma tukadiban. And it says in translation, and which of the favors of your Lord will ye deny? And which of the favors of your Lord will ye deny? We thank Almighty Allah that we are able to stand before you and delivering this khutbah, this sermon, this lecture, or some might even say this talk. It is our intentions as we are broadcast on Cam Radio, also Facebook and YouTube. It is our intention in assisting those who have hope, who have faith, those who are searchers for truth. Our intent is certainly, number one, always to please God, to please Allah, but to assist you in knowing yourself and finding the truth for yourself. And as believers, be those of the Jewish faith, Christian faith, and certainly as I speak in being Muslim, it is our intent to be of the righteous, those who are sane mind, those whose intentions are upon following the best thereof, the best suggestion, the best idea, the best philosophy that you can come up with in accordance to how you have been taught about the existence of God and the power of God and the love of Almighty God. Today, marking this Friday, I think it's Friday the 13th, as believers, we don't look at Friday as being a day of corruption, a day of wickedness. In fact, if you open your eyes, it is certainly a blessing. And for you to be those who are seekers, so all of us have some shortcomings, but we are taught in Islam, the religion of peace, we are taught that as you open your eyes and as you begin your day, it is said of the prophet that the prophet instructed those who came around him, his Sahaba, his companions and others, said when you open your eyes, realize that you are the vendor of your own soul. Meaning what? I'm the vendor of my own soul? Yes, you have the capacity, you have the ability to bring yourself down or to lift yourself up. Opening your eyes, having a choice, having a mind, having intelligence that Almighty God has given us all. And so what we do when we come to the masjid, wherever we may be, wherever there are Muslims, we come in and we salute the masjid. And some of us, we make the sunnah prayer, 2 sets of rakahs. and acknowledging, putting our head, our forehead on the ground, not just going through a ritual, going through the motion, but acknowledging, as it is said of Esau, even Miriam, Jesus, the son of Mary, Esau, even Miriam. It is said of him when found in the Garden of Gethsemane that he placed his forehead on the ground and he acknowledged to the world, to those that he came to, those that he was sent to, he acknowledged to them that the sent, him being the sent cannot be greater than the sender, referring to God. The Quran that we read, this book that we read, this book, this revelation, this final revelation, the Quran, meaning that which is to be proclaimed, that which is to be announced. And we say this often because we want you to understand, as we mentioned in our Sunday Taleem and last Friday in our Juma prayer, we mentioned as to how Almighty God does not take anything away. The word in Yusuf Ali's translation is abrogate. He does not take anything away unless he replaces it with something better. Can you imagine having a pair of shoes and you're able to get another pair of shoes, but the other pair have a hole in them? You can feel your feet. You can feel the ground from the hole that's in your shoe. You replace those shoes with something better. Though those shoes served you, God has given you something better. He has given you the opportunity to receive that which is better. And everything in creation, it is for your usage. And what of paradise? And what of the hereafter? What of judgment? This paradise, God says, this garden, it is said in the Quran. It is said that the garden, that our Rab, our Lord, the Lord of Jesus. Jesus is known as the Lord who created Jesus, that is our Lord. And certainly we accept how God sent Jesus to humanity. And it says in the Quran of Jesus, Christ disdained not to serve and to worship Allah, to worship God, nor do the angels, those nearest to God. Those who disdain his worship and are arrogant, he will gather them all together unto him to answer. So here it is, Jesus acknowledging the oneness of God. And in this particular ayat, of this particular verse, it speaks of the arrogance that man possesses. Man, the mind, the male, the female. And in this particular verse, in reading this verse, it leads us further, and it mentions those, but to those who believe and do deeds of righteousness, he will give them their due reward and more out of his bounty. But those who are disdainful and arrogant, he will punish with a grievous penalty. Nor will they find besides God any to protect or to help. Meaning, surely Almighty God speaks the truth. Then how am I relating this? Surely God, Almighty God, speaks the truth. The Quran, the final say-so, the final revelation, that which was given to Muhammad 1400 years ago. Do we worship this man? No, but we love this man. We love this man that Jesus and other prophecies and other prophets and other apostles and other seers, other religions, they pointed to the coming of this one that will be known as the Comforter, whose name actually is Ahmed. Ahmed, this is Muhammad. Ahmed, the one that it is stated that he would show up and he would deliver the light, he would deliver the truth. So we have this book coming to Muhammad through the angel Jibreel, through the angel Gabriel. We salute all of those who came before us, who made an attempt to awaken those whose very life, those whose family connection had been taken away from them, those who had been away from a solid foundation, those who were reduced to whereas they couldn't read or write. But here it is, God has given us an understanding. He has allowed conditions to bring us into a position that we might find ourselves, that we might learn how to interact with ourselves. Certainly God first in anything that I'm saying, but I want you to understand that this creation, this garden that God has given us, this garden, this vast garden, the garden that we have with Prophet Adam, this garden that is said that he and his mate lived in. We must understand then that this garden was meant for work. We must understand that the garden, it is meant to replenish, to give the nourishment that is needed in order not that we may just sustain ourselves, that, oh, I'm hanging on. No, but we might prosper. So in the beginning, Allah lets us know of this creation, of this Khalifatan, this one that will protect others from the rear, but this one who will be obedient, this one who had a mission, who had a goal, who understood the appetite, who understand the yearning and the hunger in the soul of man, who understood that one would come in future generations. And as we said, his name is Ahmed, Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in saying this then, asking, requesting Almighty Allah to deliver, to bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad. In saying this then, those who follow Muhammad, you are following the Christ. You are following Abraham. You are following Yusuf. You are following all of the prophets. You are surrendering yourself, not to the prophet, but to the way that they accepted as being that which was al-haq. Al-haq, that which is the sure reality, that which is the truth. So in looking for yourself, that which gives you, which acknowledges to you, which lets you know what the truth is, it is of the highest order. Having a discussion about the 7 stages of development, the 7 heavens. I want you to realize that in that 7, we also have an al-Fatiha, meaning the opening. There are 7 ayats. And al-Fatiha is also known as the mother of the book. And what does the mother do? The mother nourishes, the mother provides a way, the mother teaches. And in this particular surah, this particular chapter, beginning with Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So here are 2 openings, here are 2 keys. And I'm looking up, as we should look up. And when we are talking to our children, or we are talking to a friend or a neighbor, or maybe we're giving counsel or what have you, and you see one with his head down or her head down, you say, look up. Raise up. Oh, you might be talking to our children and say, look at me, raise your head. We are teaching the society to look up, not to be down, though the world is troubled, though there's much grief, there's much pain, many lives. So God gives man something to replace that which caused him to go astray. So when I say man, I want you to be mindful that I'm always mentioning and talking about man and woman. But certainly there's a role for the man. There's a role for the leader. We are to be out front. But by the same token, we are to protect every aspect of society, of a family life, beginning with self-orientation, trying to understand again my purpose, who I am. So I look at this surah, Surah 68, a beautiful, beautiful surah. And in looking at this surah, it is so enlightening. And this surah, it starts off with the word noon, noon, noon. Let me find that surah. And it is entitled Al-Kalam, or the pen, or noon. Kalam, the pen, or noon, as to how it is translated. Now listen at this word noon. in studying the Quran and accepting that you are students, that we, the Muslims, we are students from life, or for life. Every day, no matter what titles we may wear, whether we be known as the ulama, whether we be known as the imam, whether known as the mujaddid, we are those who are to understand that we are students. We are those who are seeking to learn. We are those in terms of being Muslims, brought up. Muslims, some say, oh, you're a convert. Nevertheless, we are Muslim. And we have learned the whelms, the pain, the darkness of the Islamic world, the Muslim world. But as being Muslims, all of us, not trying to be Maliki, Hanafi, know that we are those of the Hanafi. We're not trying to be any of that. We are just Muslims. But yet we are grateful that there are those who follow various thought patterns, but understanding that where these great men were, they were men who were teaching and assisting the people of their area, of their city, of their town, of their village. They was assisting them and teaching them how to address the environment in which they were in. So here it is, we have the Quran, and this title, Kalam, the pen. Now what is the pen used for? Remember, we said that we are students for life. So here it is, this surah entitled Kalam, beginning with Qaf. This is a Q in the English language. Qaf. And it goes in the back of the throat in its pronunciation, Qaf. And there are those that say by itself. It is a letter that also says to proclaim, Qaf. But it is also a sun letter, Qaf. Looking at this letter, a spiritual letter. And we look at the Ray, it is also a spiritual letter, a sun letter. Very important that we understand the difference between a sun letter and a moon letter. But also in the spelling, in the English translation of the word Quran, there's the noon, there's the N. Now again, I go back when I said that this first word in the surah Qalam, or the pen, this first word is noon. And when you read it in the Quran, for those who don't speak the Arabic or the Quranic Arabic, when you see this letter noon, the way it's pronounced, I'm giving you the sign that's over this letter. It is telling you to prolong this, but it has a meaning, this madda that is over the noon. And if I'm thinking during this time, as I look, it's pretty close to the time that we make our prayer, our noon prayer. But I'm saying this, I'm emphasizing this, because at high noon says that the sun is at its highest peak during the noon hour. And immediately when that shadow begins to cast, he casts after the sun is in its highest point, and a shadow is cast, going back the other way, then we know this is high noon, and we know that it is time for the prayer. What is the significance of what I'm saying? The Quran, it is a book that gives us sunshine. It gives us the pure reality. It lets us know the life of this man Muhammad, but it also, again, it mentions the angel Jibreel as to how the angel Jibreel gave Muhammad the first passage. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Now, in saying this, read, students, read. In order to read, you have to be acquainted with language. You have to be acquainted with sentence construction. And as Muslims, as believers, we are those, again, who are constantly seeking education. And Islam is about education in every facet of life. This religion, it is to humble us. This religion is to put us in our natural places, our natural form. We are to understand that we are those who have been created worthy, that we have some value. I've been talking about this for the last month and mentioning this because this society is so down on itself, the have-nots. And thinking that, oh, I'm worthless, I'm not all of that. Or this person is better than me because of their color. This person is better than me because of their education or their material gain. No, Allah says that we are equal. We are equal. Some have different talents. Some have different abilities. But this religion, it is to build us up. Certainly, it's wonderful that we have hafiz in our midst throughout the city. Different hafiz. And what is this hafiz? Those who have committed the Quran. The hafiz, they are those who protect the Quran in terms of memorizing. Had all of the 114 surahs in their head. Now, there are many hafiz, they may have it in their head, but they don't know necessarily how to teach it. But they can recite it. This is the protection of the word. So here is the garden that Allah has placed us in, has placed the believers in. And those who identify with their original form, with the manner in which Allah has created them, knowing that everything that Allah has created, it is good, most significant, can't be outdone. Nothing matches the works of the one God. So here it is, Esau again, Ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, acknowledging to the world, no, I'm not God. And as I mentioned in our Sunday Taleem services, we were mentioning miracles. And we spoke about how miracle, this is something that's mighty, something that really gets your attention, something that mystifies you. And the example that we use in terms of Bible language, this is not something that we believe in as Muslims, but in trying to give you this metaphor, or this metaphorically, we're saying we're metaphorically speaking. It is said that Jesus changed water to wine, and he was seen walking the water. What is the metaphor to the Muslims, to the thinkers? Because we know of language, we know of symbolism. We know that there are meanings behind this coded language that is in the book known as the Bible. That it is not the book that was originally given to Jesus, or to Esau, which was the gospel of the Injil. So now in saying all of that, there have been things that have been placed before the world in terms of misleading mankind in order to control mankind. If I can control your mind, I don't have to worry about your pockets. If I can control your mind, I don't have to worry about me staying atop, me being in control. If I can persuade you to buy my product, industrial manipulation, spiritual manipulation. That's what you have found in the society throughout time. You have always had those who agreed. You have always had those who wanted to control the masses and utilize the masses as dumb donkeys, as asses, as it is said in Scripture, of people described as being a donkey people. And what are donkeys used for? To carry heavy loads. Once you learn this language in terms of what has actually reduced the minds of men, regardless of the color, but yet knowing the plight, knowing the experience of particular people in America, and seeing what false concepts, corrupt ideas have done to the masses, how the masses throughout the world, man, whether they be Muslim, Christians, or Jews, or whatever the religion, we find that within the confines of religion, the confines of Islam, we find that the woman of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he actually did something that was most significant in that he gave the woman their freedom. Actually, Allah did it, but he demanded the right of women, the respect of women. In this womb that bore us, no matter how great the leader, that leader had to come from the womb of a mother. And so in looking at the structure that we have, that the Quran gives us, this picture that Allah paints, Allah sending his angels. And as you look at angels in the religious language, angels are those who are completely obedient. They can't do any wrong. They are completely obedient to God, an angel. And so what the angel brings, they bring a message. Angels bring messages. Jibreel, an angel, he brought message, the message, in terms of the revelation, in terms of the Quran. So here we have the column, this pen. And on the pages of the books that we read, there's ink. And pens are used. Yes, now we have a computer. At one time we had the typewriter. Various were the scribes, those who were writing many documents that supposed to have been very important, which they were, that was handed down throughout the century. But then we had the Hafiz. And after the prophet's demise, after him passing away into the next realm, there were those who took the pages that they had that were recorded, and also Hafiz were used, and they wrote down the entire Quran, where mankind would be able to go back and to study these words. And some use the term recollect, where you could recollect or where you could recall the goodness that is placed inside you individually, no matter what you might have done in the past, and some things you might do even in the future. But more so, this book comes and let us know that we have been created to serve God. And so he has given us this wonderful garden that we might go in and we might produce vegetation and fruit of whatever our desire is. You see the farmer, those who live in rural areas and also in the city. You see people planting greens and peas and having various fruit trees. Well, looking at that garden, trying to keep the weeds out of the garden, trying to keep the birds from coming in and destroying whatever it is that you have planted, whether it be watermelons or squash or what have you, trying to keep the birds away. As we look at this garden that God has given mankind, in a description of this garden, it is said that this garden, it is the width of the heavens and the earth, of the sky and of the earth. So as far as you can see, God has given man this garden, that man might be productive and utilize the garden for his benefit. So in saying that then, it is said after this first word noon in the Surah Qalam, says, by the pen and by the ruckus, which mean right, thou art not by the grace of thy Lord, man are possessed. In the Arabic, ma anta binyanati rabbika bi majnoon. Thou art not by the grace of thy Lord, man are possessed. Wa inna laka la ajran ghayra mamnoon. Nay, verily for thee is a reward unfailing. Now, why did I read those ayats? Because in accepting this truth, in following the example of Muhammad and all of the prophets, but certainly it culminates with Muhammad, it ends with Muhammad in terms of the revelation. But this wonderful example that he showed, Mithlakum, it is said, he is a man just like you, nothing mystical, not a god, as all of the prophets were. They were just men. But they were fortunate men because they were chosen by God to deliver the word. Just as all of us here, we have been chosen to deliver the word. I don't want to be no imam, but in your own right, men, not speaking to the brothers now, in your own right, in your house, you're the imam in your house. You're the one that leads prayer in your house, the imam, one who leads in prayer, not a God. One who takes it upon themselves to study the book, to teach the book, to love the book, to share the book. That's what the imam does. But so far as being the Lord over the community, no. Now, if you're speaking the English language, they speak, his Lord Charles. They make man Lord, the Lord. And they go so far to even name alcohol, Lord Calvin. And so you see how the shaitan, he takes the language and he brings into the language whatever it is that God sends forth for good. The shaitan comes and change things around, take it out of content. The word, another example of this, is the word beer. Beer. Beer means righteous. Well, the shaitan comes and he makes beer, a light beer, different types of beer. But here's this corrupt. That beer intoxicates you. That beer intoxicates you. But this light, this Quran, this truth that comes to us, when you uphold it, when you go against what has been given in the society, when you go against in terms of how we have been taught, that when we look at the Christ, that the Christ is actually God. No, that's a drunkenness. That's deception that has been placed in the minds of people, not just in America, but throughout the world. Having men, having people, having families, worship Jesus the Christ. No, he was pointing the way. Certainly he was pointing to Ahmed, pointing to Muhammad, but he was pointing to the way to one that will bring humanity into all truth. That's what Muhammad did. That's why you see the better conditions. When you see something that is very, very positive in the world of psychology, in the world of sciences, it is because of the teachings of Muhammad. It's because how Muhammad opened his ear to Jibreel. Being afraid at first, he was frightened, full of fear, because here was an angel coming to him. Here was a message coming to him. And it left him just dumbfounded for a while, until this messenger from God, this angel, bringing Muhammad this light and this understanding. And once he received this light, then he began to stand erect. And then thereafter, as time went on, we had the Jummah prayer that was established. And we had an African slave. Some say he was Ethiopian, but nevertheless, he was one that is considered as being the first treasurer. The first treasurer, like a secretary. He was the first one to be or to climb, and the only one that is said that has ever climbed on top of the Kaaba and make the call and make the adhan. And what is this adhan? This call to prayer, this invitation to prayer. So God has given us an invitation when you come here. It's an invitation that you have. It is a warning that you have. The best of warnings, the most respectful of warnings. No one is to stand before you having the title of an imam or whatever the title is to stand before you as if he's your Lord, as if he's your master. You're in charge yourself. No compulsion in this religion. You have a choice. We have a choice. God doesn't come by or send someone by our homes to make us get up and come to Jummah. If you are a Muslim, you know the significance of coming to Jummah. Come to prayer. Come to success. That's what the caller is saying. So, in the adhan, it comes from the word udhun, meaning the ear. Now, are you opening your ears to this message? Are you just hearing it? And you feel pretty good. You hear the call to prayer, you hear the adhan. But now are you responding? And once you respond, and once you come to the masjid, once you step foot in the masjid, in the masala, your whole world, more so even, is to become more humble, more submissive, because you're coming to prayer. You're coming to one of the pillars, one of the tenets of Islam. You're coming to that which will make you successful. You're coming to that which you have reduced your thoughts, your mind, written yourself of what you feel that's important. So let me go out and let me collectively feel the spirit with my brothers and sisters. Let me make this connection. Let me stand next to my brother and sister in prayer. And let me sense this togetherness that we have. How Almighty Allah has brought us together. And had it not been for this religion, we wouldn't be together. It's a high possibility that some of us would have never known each other. But now that we do, let's identify this mission. Let's identify this role. Because you're going to be called crazy. Once you come up in the society of America, possibly you knew nothing of Islam. But once the seeds were planted, whether it was about Malcolm, whether it was about Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I know some of you don't like for me to hear or for me to mention the word Elijah Muhammad, but if you knew about this revolutionist, this nationalistic approach that was used to gather our people, but more so someone coming, speaking a language to make us turn away from false religion, false concept. Although that was a false concept in terms of what was being taught. But nevertheless, out of that, his son came and began to teach from Quran. Came and said, having the largest amount of people being converted to Islam, over 2 million people followed this man, W.D. Muhammad. Not worshiping him, but as he taught and made that conversion, taught this religion, put al-haq before the minds of the people, then we began to see progress in other matters. Some say, oh, but we don't have the same businesses. But you have a mind where you can establish businesses for yourself. And if you go into partnership, it is your business. It doesn't belong to the temple. It doesn't belong to some other individual. It is yours. This religion, in terms of what we have, the concepts that we have, the ideas that we have, It put us on a basis where now we have some pride. We have some integrity that's real, not based on false concepts. I never, ever will I put down the lost foundation of Islam. That's the foundation for some of us. But as we grew, as we progress, as you read the Quran, as you study the life of Muhammad, as you study the life of Sahaba, as you study the life of women who struggled in this religion of Islam throughout the world, who stood tall, not worrying about being killed. They stood tall, and they understood the significance of giving it all to Almighty Allah. But we are not to be extremists, because we have this religion that has brought us the noon, has brought us the pen. And every day, brothers and sisters, we are writing our own history. I don't mean someone following behind you, writing down everything that you do, or recalling memories when you were a child, or when you were a teenager, or the experiences that you had throughout life. No, you are writing your own history in terms of what you do, because it is taught in the religion of Islam that two angels, we are companions with us, and they are recording our deeds. Everything that we do, it is being recorded. And Allah said, Alam, it is Allah, the knower. Allah knows all that we are doing. That's more significant than my friend, than my mate, than my father and mother. That's more significant in them knowing what I do, because God knows. You are responsible. We are responsible for taking care of this garden of the mind. We are responsible for what we put in our body. It is the same at Masjid al-Taqwa and other masjids around the country and throughout the world. Every Muslim that enters these doors, you are responsible for standing over this womb that has bore you. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu Rasulullah. Dear beloved Muslims, we continue in the same vein with reference to our responsibilities and how we will be ostracized, how some Muslims have been killed in this country for seeking to share this light to bring humanity out of darkness. That which we have been given, there are those not knowing will consider us as being hypocrites and being ungodly. But yet there are those in this society that you may pass by, their dwelling places, known as lodges, or places whereas they study, supposedly, high wisdom, high knowledge. Masons and Shriners. Very good, some very good people I know that are associated with these lodges. But nevertheless, they study the religion of Islam in secret. What you are given, what you have in the Quran, in the life of Prophet Muhammad, you have that which exalts you. You have that which is of the highest standards. We're to heed those who are despicable in their character, those who seek to reduce you from who you are. You're to rid yourselves of being a slanderer yourself. We are never to slander our brothers and sisters. And it's a good practice, though certainly we may do things at times where we may talk about certain events. I might even mention something about our brother and sister. But it is prescribed to us. And we have prescription medicine. We have to take our medicine at a certain time. Maybe for blood pressure or what have you. Various forms of medicine that we take for an ailing body. But this medicine that Allah has given us, even if we went back to the old rule that I've stood by for the longest, the first rule that ever just stuck in my head, and there was nothing that I gained from the Quran because I didn't know anything about the Quran when I was a child. But the rule was, they used to call it the golden rule, do unto others as you have others do unto you. Wonderful when you think about that in its content. And as I grew and I thought about that, that helped me in life. In other words, treat people the way you want to be treated. Once you find out someone is supposed to be your friend, someone that was close to you, a bosom buddy, they say. And that person slanders your name, slanders your word. And when other people see you, they look down upon you because of, I heard. But this ear, listen, the ears that we have, when the Muslim, before prayer, what do? We take ablution. We're washing. We're trying to wash away. We're trying to become pure. We want our body pure. We want our hands pure. Those things, those corrupt things that I did with my hands, I want to wash that away. I want to go over my head. I'm washing my head. One time going back at one hand. There's one light. I don't clean out my ears. I've been listening to garbage. I've been allowing people to come to me with filthy things that pull me away, that reduce me from my true self. فَبِأَيِّ إِلَّهِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. And which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? So knowing now that this invitation, that your presence here today, all of us, this was an invitation, and it has been made possible by Almighty Allah. You think that you determine everything in your life? No, once you latch on to this. You ever notice when you put Kool-Aid in a glass of water, how gradually the color changes? The color changes. When this Quran was introduced in America, when the name Muslim was introduced in America, just like that changing of the color, though America has its own mindset, the one that Shaitan gave America. But when the language of Quran, the light of Quran began to shine, began to emerge, though it may not have came in the manner in which it was intended in its purest form, but gradually they began to say on the news, they began to say Islam, the fastest growing religion in America, in the world. Now just think, you are a part of that. You are a part of that growth. You are a part of that progression. And your character, it is to exemplify to others in America. Not that you're out on the corner with bullhorns and you're teaching the religion, but just by your example. The way that you treat yourself, the way that you love yourself, the way that you are to love your family, the way that you are to spread this love. Allah is all-loving. Certainly I mentioned it last week, but you know that I teach collectively. Make connections. We are to love each other. How often, I watch some of you, after Job and other times that we meet, you barely speak to your brothers and sisters. We have to get to know each other. We are at war. We're at war. No, not with the Christians, not with the Jews, but anyone that seeks to destroy us. No, but we're at war with the Shaitan. But we have to do this collectively. In spreading this word in terms of what we do. There were those, in coming to a close, there were those who were bragging about the wealth that they had and the possessions that they had in their garden, how many gardens they had, and the amount of fruit that they had, feeling that they were better than others because they had riches, they had wealth. And they continued in this manner for so long, and they had been warned by various leaders. They had been warned about their selfishness and their arrogance. They had been warned how they had pulled away from what was the right way of life. So in that they did this and bragging so, and seeing their material plenty, more so than they were seeing God. It is said, paraphrasing this story, it is said that when they awoke the next morning, going into their gardens, bragging, and they saw their gardens were ruined. And one said among them, surely they had wronged themselves. Surely they were at fault. When we fall, when we have problems in our life, don't look, that brother calls me to do that, that sister calls me to do it. Boy, my wife, I'm so sick of my wife. I'm so tired of my husband. But what is our thinking? As men, as leaders, are we setting the correct example? The year 2019 is ridiculous. When you look around the Muslim world and you see how the women are being treated. It's ridiculous. 2019. Women can't drive in certain countries. That's slavery. And not just with that, with other things. This life that Allah has given us, it is a life that we are to take and we are to understand and we are to accept. In loving, I'm not just to love my sons and my wealth. Isn't there something that when you begin to look at the wealth of the West and its growth and in its development, there was a time they used to call it the Wild Wild West. Everybody was carrying a gun. And a man, if you stole a man's horse, you could be hanged for stealing a man's horse. That's how valuable an animal was. And we know in terms of transportation that man, he rode the cattle, he rode the steers, he rode horses, he rode camels. Now here it is in the West, you could be hanged for stealing a man's horse. Now here it was, when you look in the Middle East and other places, what camels are used to transport you across the desert. If you stole a man's camel, you could be killed. According to how many cows you had, how many camels you had, that made you wealthy. Now picture, it is said that this man, Muhammad, hated so much that there was one who was willing to give you 100 camels, 300 camels, if you would bring this man back or even kill him. What kind of mindset would want to kill an individual because they're saying there's only one God, that God is the greater. And when we look at this story, when we think about what is transpired, who are we to think that we are not going to suffer and go through things? Gradually, they said, gradually, we are learning. And you will only develop, you will only gain according to what you put into your work. Don't expect pay and you're not working. Don't expect to understand the Quran and you're not studying the Quran. You are not praying. You're not submitting. You're not surrendering. How are you going to gain? How are you going to progress? You may look forward to the growth of your children, but it's not guaranteed that they're going to be righteous Muslims. Are you setting the right example, the best example? Are you following the best thereof? We'll pray for our children, pray for our family. But it is our responsibilities as men to stand up and to uphold what is just, what is right, to stand up for the truth. So are we standing in our own character? Are we bearing witness against ourselves to ourselves? Are we self-examining ourselves? This self-orientation. People of Muslims, these are serious times. They're always serious times. But for us right now, these are serious times. I watched the debate last night, a Democratic debate, and I'm certainly not from any party. But you should be abreast of what's going on in the world that you live in terms of this environment of America. Because our world, it is the world of Islam, it is the world of the Quran, it is the world of Muhammad, what he wrote. So I was watching this. Why? Because we know in many instances, there's much corruption in politics, just as there's corruption in the business world, in the economic world, corruption in the religious world. Don't fool yourself. That's why it's so important that we be Muslims. So I'm watching because I want to hear the language. I want to know what's going on, what's on the minds of these people that are vying for political office, that are vying to be our leaders. You can hear language. 2 or 3 of us can hear the same sentence come from someone's mouth. But according to your understanding and to your learning and to you utilizing the Quran as your guide, Imam Quran, I say this to you often because I want you to understand the significance of the Quran. If you have the Quran as your manual of operation, when you hear the voice of one speaking and you are listening attentively, then you know what is going on in the society. When Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when he spoke, his words were so important, so sensitizing, so relaxing, that when those who knew of his character before he became the prophet, they knew it was something special about what he was saying, even if they hated him. We have this tremendous job to do, brothers and sisters. This Quran is reshaping the world with our help or without. The will of Almighty Allah, it will prevail. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. قد قامت الصلاة.